Hi, I am Khaysan. I'm a portfolio manager here at OpenCorp, and I'm here today with Matt Lewison, our CEO, for another episode of Property Investing Insiders. Today, Matt, I would love to talk about purchasing interstate. I think it is a bit of a misconception within the investing world that you invest in areas that you are aware of. I guess we always sort of talk about being able to drive past the property. Obviously, we understand the benefits of buying in different states, buying when the markets are better in one state compared to another, because they all move through their own individual cycles. So I guess if we could just chat a little bit about that today, that'd be awesome.
Awesome. It's something that when I started investing, it wasn't really on my radar to invest in different states. Or different areas. My dad had invested in the southeastern suburbs of Melbourne, knew that market really well, knew all the agents there. And so when Al and I started investing, we started investing there and bought our first few properties in that one area. It wasn't until I moved to Brisbane with my work that the opportunity to invest in a different state came up. And what we found was that the Melbourne market was going through a real lull. Its kind of supply-demand dynamics weren't really favourable to investing there at all. And suddenly I was living in a state where the supply-demand kind of dynamic was really favourable to investing, and also the price point to invest in Brisbane at that time was considerably cheaper than Melbourne.
Yeah.
So we started investing in Brisbane, and we picked up a great kind of wave and rode the market cycle for the next couple of years. And then at which time it started to shift back towards Melbourne. And that kind of started to change our investment strategy. And we started to invest, even when we were investing in Melbourne, investing away from that southeastern pocket where we already had quite a few properties. Because we identified that there was, banks call it concentration risk, which is if you have too much in one area, then you have a greater risk. If that one area doesn't perform well, then your entire portfolio, for instance, can underperform. But if you're spreading your portfolio across different parts of the city and into different cities or markets, then you're de-risking your portfolio, first of all, against any risk, like whether it's political risk, like if a state government, for instance, came and did something that was a bit bonkers that affected the market. Well, if you have all your eggs in that one basket that's fully exposed to that political risk, then you could be in a spot of bother, and it could be really stressful at that time. Whereas if you're, again, diversified into different markets, then you have a better opportunity to capture different market cycles, which means that your portfolio grows more steadily. And you're also not as kind of stressed about little changes that happen in one market.
It's interesting, as you know, in our role, we deal with a lot of what we refer to as our ambassadors, which is basically friends and family of our existing clients. And so I have that sort of like initial chat with them, and they, talk about their different thoughts and feelings around investing. And one of the key questions that we get asked is about where to buy and what market is hot at the moment, which is obviously always a big topic. And one of the, aspects of the company that they point them to, and I think it's something that we as a company do really well, and I'm proud and comfortable to talk about, is our acquisitions team, which is essentially the group of people in the business that spend all day, every day, scouring the country for, the best area for our clients and potential clients to invest in. We spoke in other episodes about the importance of, getting experts in that area. I think we had a client night where you had said from January to May, that acquisition team had already done 20 hours. Was it 20 hours of...
Thousands.
20,000 hours worth of research into the different areas. And I think when people start to understand our strategy and why we do invest in those areas and how comfortable we are because of this acquisitions team, they start to really understand the benefit of using the whole country as an investing portfolio compared to just some pockets. So do you maybe want to just explain I guess, the method that acquisitions team used within all those hours to, really pinpoint the areas that we look at.
Yeah, and look, I think if I go back to when we started again, and I touched on the fact that our dad and then Al and I got to know the agents in that area really, really well. So we knew it like the back of our hand. As soon as something came on the market, within 5 minutes, we would know whether it was a good value or not. And we were aware, and it's something that Dad drilled into us, that if there are people who are experts in that market and you're not, you're just a casual observer who turns up every now and then hoping to get a great deal, you're not going to know a good deal. In fact, the things that you're going to see have already been shopped around to everybody else who knows what they're doing, and they've turned it down. So we kind of, when we started investing in interstate, it was important for us to get to know that market as well as we knew our local market where we'd already been investing. And so we had to develop tools and systems that enable us to really hone down into what was important, to establish a network really quickly, to identify who in that network can add value, also what sources of information were irrelevant versus what was important to know. And what we also found was that over time, the more knowledge we knew of different markets, and the broader that knowledge base, the faster we could get to know a new market, but also we had context. So we could see, hey, here's value that the locals might not even identify because they're so focused on their little fishbowl pocket. Yeah, that might be a better term. And so they didn't have the context of what had happened in other markets over the last decade that had been priced at the same, perhaps 10 years ago, and had skyrocketed because of new infrastructure that had been built or because of changing demographics. And so we kind of built that kind of knowledge base, and we continue to refine it because we need to know the market better than every local, as well as having that broader national context. So if somebody was kind of thinking, all right, well, I like the concept of investing interstate, and saying they want to do it themselves and say, I'm just going to go and find the best investment, I would say your chances are pretty slim that you're going to find a better investment than a local or somebody or a group that is spending every minute of every day and have a team, like a big team, that gets to know every bit of information they can. Like our team's reading local council annual plans and infrastructure plans, state budgets and all sorts of things to know what's planned for the future, to understand what's likely to change the value of houses over and above just the immediate supply and demand. So it is absolutely beneficial to invest interstate, but it also adds risk if you don't know that market.
And I think it is, really important to understand that you don't necessarily need to know all the small minor details of that market. I guess you just need to have confidence in the fact that we do, and we're always willing to share. I think we're really transparent as a company about what data we have and where we got it from and how it's beneficial or not beneficial to our client base.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, one of the members of the chair of our investment committee used to be the president of the Urban Development Institute of Australia. And he was the national chair for the UDIA. So he's a very, very experienced person in the property industry. And I take a lot of comfort from the fact, and I'm very proud of the fact that he has commented multiple times that our investment reports and our market research not only has better detail than any others that he sees, but the insights that we're able to provide, and again, it comes down to that context of knowing, having such a broad understanding of the market, that he is blown away by the level of detail that our acquisition and research team is able to put into those reports in a way that they understand the market. And I think that should give our clients a lot of comfort as well. In fact, it does, I know, to see the level of detail that we go into, to know that we're finding the right investment for them.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I hope everyone got some value out of this today. If you want to understand our process more, reach out, always happy to help. Thanks.